The engineering industry is reinventing itself amid growing demands for local solutions within the food processing industry. According to DK Engineering Technical Director Leonard Kamau, increasing demand for healthy food since the onset of COVID-19 has been driving up orders for locally manufactured machines to process indigenous crops. Regina Manyara visited the plant and files the following story.
Buy Kenya, build Kenya. Is it a myth or reality? I'm Regina Manyara. We're focusing on the local manufacturing industry with keen interest in the local engineering sector. Joining me for this conversation is none other than Leonard Kamau, the Technical Director of DK Engineering. Welcome, sir, and thank you for your time. So how is the local engineering sector reinventing itself in light of COVID-19?
Thank you for having me, and thank you for this talk. The engineering sector has been affected so much because the normal business is not normal anymore, but we need to come up, and what we are doing is to come up with new ideas and listening to the growing demand of new needs that potential or clients, people are coming up with because of being at home and thinking outside the box. Where a lot of people are coming up with new ideas that we need to engineer processes that will suit their needs. So this is what we are doing about it. For example, there are people coming up with baked products, so we will be able to give them local equipment that will suit the need of baking or drying or processing juice, making peanut butter, making jam, making drinking juices, natural juices. So we are coming up with equipment that are able to process this kind of product.
Why is there a keen interest in food processing?
Well, number one is healthy living. You have seen a lot of people doing exercises. That's part of health. Food, going back to our natural food, not processed foods. Though we are talking of processing equipment, our process is maintaining the origin food. Like if we talk of drying of bananas, if we talk of drying of tomatoes, if we talk of drying of sukuma wiki, terere, and other carrots, pumpkin, sweet potato, we are talking of processing or drying this equipment in their natural form, so that when it is consumed, it's consumed in the natural form without any additives. So really what we are talking about here is, one, value addition to food or agricultural produce. We are talking about what can we do with what we have. We are looking at food security. How can we preserve our food in the most natural way to have it for the longest season? So this is what we are looking at. And we have a lot of people who are coming up with different ideas. So for us as DK Engineering, we are led and driven by the ideas of a customer. We put in our engineering knowledge and skills and come up with equipment that will serve this customer, that will process this produce.
How has the market reacted to locally manufactured products, or rather what you say, locally engineered products?
Well, it's unbelievable because not many people believe that some of this equipment are produced in Kenya. For example, we are standing behind an oven. This is an oven made by ourselves, used as a dryer, can be used for baking, and we have produced it, among other equipment. So yes, the reception is good because people are coming and they are interested, and we have a solution and they are willing to buy. So the challenge is pricing. This is food processing. So when we talk of food hygiene in the processing, we must use the right material, we must use the right process and method of manufacturing. This we are able to do, though a little bit it's found expensive because of the pricing.
Now, talking about pricing then, how do we rectify that particular issue?
What we really would want is to have the government reconsider taxation on material. Because I look at steel same as baking flour. You can make mandazi, you can make chapati, you can make bread, you can make cakes, you can do samosas, you can do everything with your flour. So steel, you can do a lot of things. We can do bodybuilding for vehicles, but we have chosen to do equipment. So this equipment, if the materials are taxed less, then definitely the equipment will be affordable to the market.
Have you felt the impact of the economic stimulus package that was rolled out by the president to cushion businesses during this COVID period?
We didn't have VAT on baking ovens, but VAT was reintroduced. So when we sell this equipment today, we will sell it plus value-added tax. Now, we are not going anywhere. We have not benefited in any way, because we pay our materials at 14%, we sell the equipment at 14%. So at the end of the day, the taxation of steel at 30% import duty, and then you top up with value-added tax of processing or manufacturing the equipment, then at the end of the day, this equipment is not going to be cheaper to the end user. It's actually going to be a little bit more expensive. So ideally, I can say we have not benefited in any way from where we are at the moment and at the level of our equipment or industry.
Other challenges other than just dealing with COVID disruptions is the local engineering sector dealing with?
Well, one, yes, if you talk of taxation is one element, and when we talk of high cost of energy, it's a reality, because the machines that we are using, they are all electric driven. And we need more power. If we have to grow our industry, we need, one, reliable power. We go for a day or two. At times, we don't have power. If you switch on a generator, it becomes twice the cost of production. So at the end of the day, yes, we have heard about power cost reduction, but it has never been seen on our bills, that we see that, yes, this is what we were paying and this is what we are paying. We see a small fluctuation when there is rain and when the dollar rate is favorable to the Kenya shilling. There we see, but ideally, it's too expensive to produce, and labor is also not cheap anymore. We are talking of high-skilled personnel that you need. We are working with engineers, degree holders or diploma holders who will understand what we are doing and why we are producing and why we are using sophisticated equipment to produce what we are producing.
The latest report from KPMG and the Kenya Association of Manufacturers indicates that over 30,000 people have lost their jobs. How is DK Engineering dealing with that situation?
Well, it's a negotiation between ourselves, and when we negotiate and come up with a survival tactic, because these are people you have trained, you have developed them, you have developed the skills over and above the engineering knowledge, so that they specialize in producing certain equipment. So losing them is very expensive. So we sit down and actually negotiate and agree, because honestly, we are on a survival mode.
What role then can innovation play to boost the local manufacturing industry?
Well, number one is, can we believe in ourselves? We need to believe in ourselves. We need to appreciate that we have come of age to produce different items and get the right support. And the right support will come not in form of finances, but local support by purchasing and using our equipment. By Kenya, you build Kenya.
Is the time right then for locally engineered solutions, and how does Kenya compare regionally?
Well, it's time now to specialize in what one wants to do. We want to specialize in food processing equipment. Other people will specialize in automotive. Different sectors in engineering must specialize so that we can compete, because currently the competition is global. You can import something from China, you can import from Europe, you can import from anywhere, as long as you have your money. So what we need to do is to believe in ourselves, support ourselves, and use our own. It is time for engineers to stand up and come up with solutions that will meet our needs in different sectors. We saw the person who came up with beds, the hospital beds, and he's producing. He got an order for what he got, and this is what we want to see, more and more of our own, supporting our industries and our economy, and that's the only way we can grow.
There are plans to raise the manufacturing industry's contribution to GDP to 15%. From where you sit, is it feasible?
Yes, it is feasible. It is feasible simply because if you look at the population, we are talking of 47 million Kenyans. And with the 47 million Kenyans, they need each and everything that you can think about. Let's think of shoes, let's think of food, and mainly I will talk about food security. And this is where we would come in as equipment manufacturers to support the food security sector. And yes, it is feasible if only the support is there, because someone has to buy an equipment somewhere. So how will he be financed? By the government, by the bank, by an NGO, or his own savings? So we have to think about how are we going to support our local willing investors in different sectors. So we have to come up with simpler, easier, but also we also have to be trustworthy, so that if you get your loan, the lender has to know that you will pay.
So going forward, what should we look out for from the local engineering sector?
The future is bright, as long as we have, one, economic and political stability. So there will be growth, and more so in the manufacturing sector. We do not have securities. I mean, Kenya as land is not growing, but the population is growing. The need for funding is also growing, so that we can support many manufacturers, many processors, and grow and create jobs. The most important thing also will be creating jobs, because people who will use the equipment are getting a job. At the end of the day, there will be taxation on the earnings, and then the government will also increase their revenue. So indeed, yes, it is feasible.
Parting shot from an engineer?
The future is bright, as long as we have, one, economic and political stability. So there will be growth, and more so in the manufacturing sector. We do not have securities. I mean, Kenya as land is not growing, but the population is growing. The need for funding is also growing, so that we can support many manufacturers, many processors, and grow and create jobs. The most important thing also will be creating jobs, because people who will use the equipment are getting a job. At the end of the day, there will be taxation on the earnings, and then the government will also increase their revenue. So indeed, yes, it is feasible.
Thank you very much, Leonard Kamau, for your time. There you had it. The time is right for the local engineering sector. And as far as innovation is concerned, that's the direction they are ready to take. Buy Kenya, build Kenya. I'm Regina Manyara. You're watching KBC Channel 1, and this is Business Insights.